Curated by Superprojects, Elemental is a project with three main components. The first is a major commission of artist Caoimhe Kilfeather, who has created a body of work with the intended audience of children aged approximately 4 to 12. This commissioned work is being exhibited alongside the work of artist Karl Burke in Uillinn, West Cork Arts Centre between January and March 2019. Also part of the exhibition is the Make Space, a temporary response room created and designed by practicing primary school teacher and trained artist Anne Bradley. An additional and important part of the exhibition is an artist residency programme with artist Siobhan McGibbon working at Dromore National School in Bantry. Together, the students and Siobhan have worked over 9 sessions to create their own artwork that explores the themes of this exhibition as well as the students' own ideas, to be added to the exhibition for the final 10 days of the exhibition run.
So as a parent of young children, it certainly did impact on how I made the work, but as I began making the work and thinking about materials, certainly I was really interested to see how my own children responded to that, and I kind of became more of a keen watcher of how they created small hiding places and tunnels and caves, and specifically enjoyed fabrics and materials that they could really manipulate. I also thought back to my own childhood and very specific things like making hiding spaces inside my grandmother's hedge and building tree houses. So there was a kind of using memory and experience in order to generate the work. So there was certainly a nice correlation between how I would usually approach making work and how I approached making this body of work. The idea of finding oneself in a place and that very particular kind of experience was a continuation through my practice into this particular body of work. Part of my interest would be looking at outdoor enclosures and people's relationship to landscape and place, and these were certainly things that I continue to look at in the exhibition. The main difference really was thinking about how it would be necessary for children to be able to interact with it and to touch it. So thinking about materials slightly differently, and scale also was very important, so that children of different heights and sizes would find particular places within the exhibition that was suited specifically to their scale. So in the silk piece, there are pockets of space that are measured against the sort of standard heights of anywhere between 3 and 10-year-olds. So there'd be different areas that they could inhabit, and likewise being able to bring the cushions around to different parts of the space so that they could kind of create spaces particular to themselves.
The Creative Learning Programme at Uillinn West Cork Arts Centre is one of our core programmes. It really is at the heart of what we do. One of the core ways that we have of dealing with various different programmes is to work in partnership with other organisations, and so for Superprojects to curate this exhibition and to bring this idea to us, we were very interested in that, and it was a way also of us to work with other artists who are interested in children and children's experiences of the arts. So it was really, really good to work with Caoimhe, Karl and Anne Bradley, and of course with Cleo from Superprojects as well. Another area that has become very core to what we do is our artist residency programme. And so Siobhan McGibbon was a resident with us last year, and she was invited back to take a residency at the beginning of this year to work on Elemental with a group of school children. And we're finding that the residency programme has become a very concrete way for people of all ages to meet and work with and see what artists are doing over a period of time.
Make 1 second of animation again. So you're all going to get 12 different moves with the plays.
I've been working on a project with 1st, 2nd and 3rd class students from Dromore Primary School in Bantry. Over 8 weeks we've discussed ideas about space, scale, perspective and movement. With Karl's work we responded to the idea of space and how artists address the entire space as opposed to just the object. We thought about perspective and spent time drawing the object from every different angle, even taking the time to look at the sculpture from outside the building. We also thought about movement and how the sculpture almost invites you to climb it. And we explored these ideas through drawing, collage, animation and maquette making. Inspired by Caoimhe's enclosures and structures, the students decided to make their own fort. This is an excellent opportunity to develop upon ideas we touched upon in the earlier workshops. So together we responded to the space, thinking about what kind of scale structure we would build, how the audience would move around or through the structure. Would they walk? Would they crawl? And we also thought about the limitations and restrictions of the space, such as wheelchair access and health and safety. During the fort designing workshops, the students came up with fantastical ideas about surveillance and eyeball scanners and passwords and elaborate sections of forts where there'd be bulldogs to keep people out. And then some of them thought about how they would use the structure to solve the problem of this balcony and how lots of the students can't see Caoimhe's work from above. So we designed a periscope to deal with this problem.
I liked Karl's work and Caoimhe's work. I liked because it was exploring a new thing, because I never been to the Art Centre before. So when I just took my first step, I was really excited. I liked Caoimhe's leaves coming down, and I liked the pillows and the leaves and the brushes. I like the gallery because we can make like sculptures, and there was a forest that was my favourite bit, and we could look down in like mirror to mirror that Stephen and Yasov made. Well, I thought the whole experience was very fun, and it was just amazing. Siobhan was amazing, and she was very kind, and I just loved looking at the stuff down the gallery. I like it because it's cool, and it's just cool because I get to show work off to other people. Well, I liked the sand because you could touch it and it felt really nice and soft and soothing. But yeah, I just really liked it in general. The periscope was so cool because you'd be looking at it one way and you'd see someone from another angle without having to jump up in the wall.
I think before this, not many of my students had been to any kind of an art centre, not even. It was a great experience for them to actually go in and experience art firsthand, and also to experience different types of art that they wouldn't necessarily be exposed to in the classroom. So it just opened their minds to other types of art. I think it's invaluable for the students to work with a professional artist. It was 2 sessions per week for 4 weeks, so I think that was very useful because it was a whole process of bringing the project together, and it wasn't just about finishing something, you know, in the session of the day. It was about coming together, talking about it, maybe improving on things, and making a whole project and working through the process of creating art.
For good reasons, children need to generally be told not to touch things in museums and galleries, and that's the way it should be. But I think it's important that exhibitions and commissions like these can take place so that there is a sort of a softening of those borders, and it's not that it's a free-for-all, but it is a kind of a way of introducing places like galleries and museums to children and allowing them feel their way into to thinking about what art is and what's it for,